Good afternoon. It is Friday, April 16th, and I am here again with Jared and Vincent. And again, just to caveat the conversation is Jared currently runs with an agency. Vincent recently got off a truck, so they're going to have different perspectives. But so the question is what are the biggest needs in the community right now?
One thing that we have just found out that needs to be addressed is retention, EMS retention, getting people involved in EMS. The turnaround can be kind of high with some of the stuff that we see and do, or people moving on to other fields, into nursing or whatever. So one of the things that we're doing is we got addressed or approached by the school to start hosting an EMT class at the school. Helping with seniors getting into EMS and learning what it's about, deciding if that's something they want to go, the route they want to take. They can do EMT and then go on to nursing. They could go on to paramedic. They could go on to critical care or flight medic. So there's a lot of routes you can take after that class. But just getting them involved in the emergency medicine field at least gets them involved with the kind of what they want to do, or maybe be able to decide what they want to do in their future. So we're starting to get this process going of being able to host an EMT class for seniors their senior year at a local high school.
Okay, so you kind of go into the second point of what can EMS do to help address those needs. But let me throw a curveball at you and ask you, does that job better land with the frontline EMS providers, or in our situation being educators, do you think that would be, not to say that frontline EMS can't do it, but given sometimes workload, it might not be feasible. But do you think that's better left to like a system resource such as us to teach?
Yes and no. We still have to find a way for them to get their field time in, to get their internship time in, to be able to actually get field perspective and field experience prior to being done. If you take somebody that only did hospital time and you say, okay, now you're an EMT, go be on an ambulance, they wouldn't know exactly what's going on in the field. It's completely different. So we need those frontline people in the field also to give them a good experience and to get them to understand the world that they're getting into. And then obviously we can only teach so much in a classroom. So we teach all the book stuff, we teach the numbers and stuff they need to know, and then going out in the field and actually being under a preceptor is what will help them learn how to do some of the tricks of the trade outside of a classroom.
All right. Vincent, how can we get buy-in from, Jared was saying, getting agencies to take these students as riders? Is there a way we can get buy-in from some of them to allow that?
I don't know.
All right.
The one perspective we had gotten into was there's a private ambulance in our area that is also looking to recruit because they need people into their business. So by having them go through this high school class, getting the classroom knowledge out of it, and then having them work with this private now to come in and do their internship will help with then this company getting new recruits and getting people in the door as well.
Because we ran into, when we were talking to them, that the local fire department will not allow these students, correct?
Right, because of their insurance, they have to be at least 21 years old.
So I guess kind of lucky that there is another option.
Yeah, we do have privates that are able to do that. We have volunteer or paid on call fire departments also in the area that can help with that as well. You can start getting people in some of these departments as early as 16, 17, but they can only have a select few on their department before their insurance goes up. So any department can have, 2 or 3, maybe 4 people on their department less than 18 years old, starting to get experience in like a junior cadet type field without their insurance going up.
All right. Anything else to offer or suggest?
I think a big issue is the retainment, not just the recruitment.
Okay.
And I think a big part of that is, statistically, when you look at this EMS IMS has about a 5-year burnout rate. People that leave the profession either completely to have nothing to do with medicine or transition to nursing or something else. Now, the ones that were going to transition were probably going to transition anyway. They just wanted the pre-hospital experience to, prepare them for their further endeavors. But the ones who leave entirely, there's a mental health issue there that needs to be addressed, because we talk about soldiers that come back from war and they see tragic things and they suffer from PTSD, but it gets often overlooked that in healthcare, for emergency room physicians and nurses and paramedics, EMTs giving pre-hospital service, there's a fair amount of PTSD self-medication that happens with alcoholism and drug abuse that gets kind of overlooked and brushed under the table, and just, well, you weren't strong enough to hack it, so, suck it up and move on or get out is kind of the attitude that gets thrown. So I think mental health component is a big issue that needs to be addressed for those retention purposes.
And it's not only just, it's prevalent in society today, the mental health crisis, but there is even less resources, it seems, for the first responders who deal with those patients that have the mental health crises to cope and recover. So, all right, well, thank you guys very much. Have a great day.